Hey guys, you know what's really nice this time of year?
What?
Gifts. You're lucky because we have something for you. Our new sponsor, Deep Creek Glassworks. So you can get ornaments. They have customizable colors and
Shapes?
pattern options. It's pretty much great gifts for anybody if you want like a Pollyanna, Secret Santa, something for the family.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
No, you're getting good quality with the glass. It is definitely, it can withstand curious cats, wagging dog tails, pretty resilient, fast shipping in crush-resistant boxes. So you know your product's going to get there. As an extra bonus to our listeners, you can get 10% off of your purchase by using the promo code SUPERFUN when you go to their website. That's Deep Creek Glassworks, WORX.etsy.com.
Bonus code.
Bonus code.
Bonus code. Welcome to the super fun game review podcast. Go Mega Ultra Between Review Show. Down.
Mubbers.
Never gets old.
Mubbers.
All right, guys. Today, I was thinking we would do what is one video game. It can be a trope. It can be something that a company does that you don't want to see companies do in the following year. Something you'd like to see die off.
Huh.
I have mine. I know exactly what mine is.
Okay.
What's yours?
I want games to stop thinking it's a fully immersive experience to eat and drink in a game. Like, I feel like too many mainstream games try to take that and shoehorn it into games that don't need it.
Oh,
I can get that.
I know what you're getting at. So,
Like there are games that would literally be more enjoyable if you didn't have to worry about eating and drinking. Like,
so you're talking about like a survival kind of thing?
yeah, certain survival games.
It's a genre. Hold on.
No, I know.
Surviving is a genre, and that genre you have to pick up supplies and you have to feed yourself and make sure that you're warm or cool based on the temperature and
like the temperature stuff's okay. I kind of get that. It's a little more interesting that way, but literally the eating food and drinking and like
worrying about your oxygen levels.
I'm not specifically talking about Survive.
Oh, okay.
But
swimming with an O2 meter.
because you at this point when you're listening to this, like you'll already have heard our input on what Survive was, but I just don't like the whole eat and drink in any game. I feel like it gets shoehorned in. Like in Fallout New Vegas, you had to drink water
In hardcore mode, I think. I don't know if you have to do it in the normal game, but I know what you mean.
Yeah, like it's just shit like that just bothers me.
No, I get that.
I don't know. In 7 Days to Die, which I just started playing again with my cousin, which that's a survival game like that, and you have to feed yourself, or you lose health and stamina, and you have to drink, otherwise you get dehydration. It's really not it's sort of like an early game issue, and then once you put like 10 hours into your base or less, it's like no big deal. Like you need to make a campfire, boil some water, and you're golden. You're fine.
Right. If you have like a point blank thing, like it annoyed the shit out of me that I had to do it in Fallout 76, or all of my AP would go down. That's the only thing it did.
Ew.
It just wouldn't allow you to have AP, so you couldn't run, you couldn't sprint. It's like, but it had 2 meters affecting 1 meter.
I see.
And it's like, okay, cool. So I have to, and then you have to like purify your food and shit like that. Like, maybe I just don't like the hardcore survival games like that.
That sounds pretty tedious.
It was super fucking tedious. Like, you had to build up your base to a point where you're like getting generators, and you have to find certain schematics to be able to even do this stuff and replicate it in a way. And you couldn't do it for food, period, in Fallout 76. You had to find food and cook it. So you're constantly like running around killing fucking wild animals, bringing them back, cooking them, and then it's like it sucked.
This irradiated dog meat doesn't do anything for my stamina.
I didn't even like it in I'll be honest, I didn't even like it in Red Dead Redemption. I thought that was shoehorned in.
I thought you were gonna get there. Maybe for the moonshine, it kind of bugs me. I did like that. Okay, it's a new morning. I need to go have some coffee. I need to have, well, not stew because that wouldn't happen until noon. But I kind of liked that pattern. It made sense. That I felt was a little bit more immersive. I mean, you don't need coffee to survive in the world. I don't need to stop and
Hey,
have coffee.
speak for yourself.
You can start now, in the game. You can start your day at the camp. You know, people are mulling around. Good morning. How are you? I'm just going to walk over to the campfire and pour some coffee. I liked that.
Sure, as a point of immersion, but I don't think it should affect your character.
Oh. Okay, but I thought your point was that it's not good for immersion.
No. So in certain games, it can be immersion.
Right. Okay.
In other games, it's not at all. Like, I didn't think in Fallout it did anything for the immersion. I thought it was an annoyance. When it's done well, it can be a point of immersion, and I appreciate that.
Right. Okay.
And like certain aspects of Red Dead, sure, like going and getting like food and coffee in the morning, that was a cool thing. But like, you know, you're not always at the camp every night.
Yep.
Like if you camp by yourself, then you're having to do it manually, and like even then, like when you have to do it manually in that game, you're like you can't be like, oh well, I have all this stuff, I'm just gonna craft this all at once. You have to craft one at a time.
That's true.
And like
true.
it just it drags games out. So that's my biggest gripe.
Yeah.
I think that the biggest issue with that, and I can't speak on a lot of those games that you were talking about, but I do know what you're talking about. I think it's the ratio that it's in games.
There's never good returns. What you do all this shit, and it's like, okay, cool. Here's
Well, it's too frequent in it. Like, let's say you're sitting down and playing for like 2 hours. How many times would you have to do it in a 2 hour span? Maybe
I see.
2 or 3 times. But realistically, it's not matching up with like
Real
in-game
life time?
Yeah, in a way, it's an unrealistic amount of eating that you have to do in a time frame comparatively to other stuff that you're getting done, where it's just becoming, it's getting in the way of day-to-day things because you're constantly trying to fill up this meter that isn't on a realistic time frame. So
yeah.
there's a fine point.
No one eats like 9 times a day.
Well,
Speak for yourself.
no, but like full like this is like
Like
you
full
don't
meals,
eat
yeah.
9 fucking steaks a day. No one does that. If they do, they'd be dead really quickly.
Probably.
Joe Rogan.
Pull that
Just
shit up,
kidding.
Jamie.
But like, yeah, like exactly what you're saying. I like 100% agree. Like no one. It's an inequivalent.
Yeah.
To actual like, and that's like more towards what I was saying, where it breaks that immersion. Like, okay, if I have to eat and drink 3 or 4 times a day, like meals in a game, and a day takes longer than an hour to go through, sure, great, that's fine. But like, man, it just sometimes they get so convoluted with this shit. It's just annoying. That was my main gripe.
Okay. Yeah. I'll go next.
Yeah.
This has been a gripe of mine since I was kind of a kid, and it's gotten worse over time. And there's a couple different facets to this, and I'll explain each one. But I want to see more games release 100% completed.
Damn it. That was.
You mean
But yeah.
on disc DLC?
No, I don't. If they're going to do DLC, it should be a part of the regular game. I don't think there should be day one patches. Like, I think if they need to delay it to fix the game, they should do that. I don't like the pre-order bonus content. Like, it's just everybody's playing all these different versions of the game because, oh, I bought the DLC. Oh, I got the day one bonus content.
Deluxe edition.
Or I'm playing offline, so I never got that downloadable patch. Like there's so many. Like, I just want to see a completed, well-polished package with a nice little like ribbon on top.
I'll jump on board with this with you because that's actually mine. It's like if you're going to have a game that you're releasing, have it done. Don't have it like 75, 80% done. Push it out so you can make extra money instead of just pushing it back maybe another 6 months. Hell, some of it like even a year. Just so that way it's an actual completed game I can play completely through, just like, you know, all the other people, instead of, you know, having to wait till, oh, well, we weren't quite done with this, so we're just going to release it as DLC. Now, sometimes they might do it right and just release it as like a free DLC, because like, hey, we fucked up, we weren't done, we wanted to give you a product, but it wasn't the finished product. Whereas some other companies will give it to, like, basically, here's your release game, and then, oh, well, we kind of wanted to add this, but we're going to make you pay $14.99 for it. Oh, and then there was this other one at $14.99 for that too. It's like the amount of extra money on top of like the $65 that you're paying for a brand new game, and then plus another $30, $45, even $60 for the rest of the DLC. It's fucking ridiculous. Like, I get it. Like, companies want to make money. That's how they keep going. That's how they pay their people. But it's not really, in my mind, like a good ethical way to do it. But I mean, it's business. I get it. But it really grinds my gears.
A lot of it is making me think of it's because of the business nature of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
100% is.
And because I'm thinking like deadlines and the amount of money that you get versus how much content is there. Like in the 80s, it was $50 or $60 for a game, and it's still $50 or $60 for a game. That's still a lot of money for a game, but overall, when you adjust for inflation and everything else, like maybe, okay, in terms of the business side, and I am not saying that games need to be more expensive. I'm just saying like it's a survival tool almost.
Yeah.
Like they need to tack this stuff on to make their margins or profits, whatever. I don't know. I'm not saying that I like it. I'm just saying that's the reason that kind of thing is there.
Yeah, you understand it. You don't necessarily support
don't
it,
agree with- yeah.
but you understand it. Yeah.
Also,
but they're dragging out their development on certain games and hindering, or they're delaying the progress on future games, essentially, because they keep tailoring back. How can we make another buck off of this previous title
Right.
when they could have just, boom, that's our finished game, and then started development on another game?
Do you have some like specific games that you're specifically have in mind? Because like
I mean, it kind of branches off to a lot. Like,
because like me personally, the more I looked into the whole day one patch thing, because it really used to annoy me. I get day one patches, because a game has to go gold 2 months before they can sell it, and technically that's when they're done. So if they realize that they want to change something and then that gets patched, and I get that because it's not technically released. You know, they don't, like, day one patches aren't necessarily made 2 days before the game comes out. They're like, okay, we did this. But when it's an incomplete game and it has like a giant day one patch, I hate that. Like where they're like, oh, we went gold in this state with like a bunch of known shippable bugs, and
Yeah,
we're fixing them all in a day one patch.
But
that's a problem.
they shouldn't have approved to like have a completed date until they knew the game was complete, though.
Well, so there's literally a term called known shippable bugs, where there's a threshold set up by companies that like you can have this amount of bugs and ship a game still, which I think is a dangerous precedent because now everyone does it.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was interesting because, all right, take a game like Dark Souls 3, for example.
Okay.
Right? I would have had no problem buying the DLC for that game because there's a 60-hour fucking game there.
right.
And then I wanted more. As soon as I, beat the end of the game, I was like, cool, DLC time. And I was fine with it. I mean, I had the edition that came with the DLC, and stuff like that. Like, but for a game that's like only 10 hours long and then they're selling $20 DLCs and stuff like that, and it only adds another hour.
That's like an
to-
early
Yeah.
access thing, though. And I realized that
I
this is
think-
not an early access discussion, right?
No.
Not
No.
at all. Okay.
No. Because early access isn't really on consoles.
Okay.
But yeah, like I honestly like certain DLC I don't have a problem with, and some I do. Like if there's not enough substantial game there to, in my mind, be like, okay, yeah, I would pay $15 to play another 6 hours of this game. Like,
Yeah, but that should have came in the original game. Like if they were planning that content, it should have come with the original game.
Again, I'm not playing devil's advocate here, but I think what you want is you want like your N64 cart. That's what you want.
I want to pay $60 and have everything that they're going to do
You
with
want
that.
the whole thing right there.
Yes.
No patches, no issues, no nothing. I completely understand wanting that. I think a lot of this has to do with the fact that all consoles are now hooked up to the internet.
yeah,
If
100%.
Yeah.
if you couldn't, do a patch, then they wouldn't. And I agree that I'd rather see the game be delayed and come out
Complete.
perfect,
Yeah.
or better than an early Rush job.
See, it's also like one of those weird things where like patches and DLC and things like that are a newer concept to console-only gamers.
True.
Whereas if you're a PC gamer, the whole idea of like expansions and patches and stuff, that's something we've been dealing with since the 90s.
Long
Yeah.
time.
So I grew up with patches and stuff. I have no problem with patches. I get expansions. Like Diablo had some amazing
Oh,
expansions.
God, yeah.
But the problem is a lot of companies can't invest that time for, well, DLCs are different, and again, it's the amount of content that you get there. But like I agree with the pre-order bonuses. I've seen pre-order bonuses break games. Again, Fallout New Vegas. For the hardcore mode,
Pay to win.
no, if you pre-ordered the game, you got a canteen that automatically sipped you water. And it broke hardcore mode because you didn't have to worry about water in Fallout New Vegas.
Gotcha.
If you pre-ordered the game. And that's fucking huge.
I think you can
Oh,
still
yeah.
find that. I think I have that canteen in New Vegas.
Well, they eventually unlocked it for
Oh, yeah,
everybody
yeah,
because
yeah.
everyone fucking complained about it.
Oh, okay.
Because if you didn't
Yeah.
pre-order it at fucking GameStop, everybody like wanted this fucking canteen. They're like, "Cool, you broke the game for 75% of your players."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Um,
I think we're on multiple discussions here. We're talking about day one patches. We're talking about early pre-order bonuses, and we're talking about DLC. Pre-order bonuses, it's one of those things where you're right. Like on the surface, or when you look at your bank balance, you're like, well, I didn't need the $80 version of this game. But when Red Dead 2, like a pre-order started, I was like, oh man, I want to get like the top tier. It's like what is that? What drives that? Why would I want to do that? Because I'm just excited for the game. I'm willing to spend more money, and they take advantage of it. Like I don't know. I think I got the special edition.
I don't mind physical.
Oh, true.
Like if you get
trinkets and
swag
shit.
for it.
Sure.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
like,
that's
cool, I got an
fine.
awesome
If you want
keychain.
to charge more for that, I get it because it's a bunch of different products, all wrapped up together. Like
That's different.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
okay
Yeah,
with
that's
that.
different.
Yeah.
I think kind of what you were talking. Why do you want to spend the extra money for it when you know you're getting more content? I think it's because I don't know.
Don't want
there's-
to miss out.
It's because it's been around for so much yet. It's from you have a fear of missing out. So what if instead of
FOMO.
yeah, so like for Red Dead, where if you pre-ordered it, you got Warhorse.
Warhorse, right?
And then if you got the next upgrade, you got Warhorse and these outfits and something else. Sometimes it might be just a fear of missing out from it. Sometimes for some people it might be, well, I want to be able to get stuff that someone else can't get because they didn't do it. And then they make another tier after that for, oh, this person only paid an extra $20. I'll pay an extra $40 and get even more than that person, where it's like trying to like one up like another person. I mean, I know that's not for everybody. It's a very broad general statement, but I think for at least a decent percentage, that's part of it. It's kind of like, hey, oh, I got Warhorse. Oh, well, I got this and this gun. It's like who's like swinging, like who's got the bigger dick.
I didn't even think of the psychology part of it. Like I didn't think about.
Sorry,
that.
when you said that, it's just like
No, I
kind of
gotcha.
like it triggered me a little bit of why do we actually like have we as consoles gotten smarter and there's more different ways of like delivering the content to us? Are we kind of being trained to think a certain way so we spend more money for this type of stuff?
Kinda. I think maybe. I'm thinking now of Resident Evil 2. I pre-ordered it, right? And the salesperson said, "Oh, did you want to get the deluxe edition?" And if he hadn't asked, I wouldn't have gotten it. But I was like, you know what? Yeah, I'll get it. And it was an extra, $10, $15. I think it was $70 for Resident Evil 2, the deluxe. And I've got it at home. And I'm looking at it. I'm like, why did I even get the deluxe edition? Like, I was anticipating the game, but nothing like Red Dead 2 or some of the other games coming out. Like Resident Evil 2, I enjoyed it, but I wasn't that hyped for it. It's like, oh, it's coming out. Okay, great. I'll pre-order it. Why did I get the extra shit?
What do you get?
A couple costumes. Why did
Yeah.
I do that? It will make no difference on my playthrough.
And cool collectibles is what gets me to buy the bigger sets.
Mhm.
Like I did it for Metal Gear Solid 5. I did it for Infamous 2. I did it for Persona 5. Like when I get a bunch of stuff, I'm cool spending that extra money. But also like it's weird. It's this weird thing. So like for multiplayer games, I completely understand why people get nickel and dimed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not loot boxes. I specifically don't want to talk about loot boxes here. But like Rainbow Six Siege, right? If they would have just put that out as a $60 game, you wouldn't have any of the extra stuff, and that game would be dead right now.
That's hard to argue.
Yeah.
But they need people buying the extra stuff to go in, and they also give you what they did it the right way, where you can earn in-game currency to unlock everything. Like Harry hasn't spent any extra money other than your 60, really, right? But like for me, like I didn't want to, I didn't have the time to put in that Harry did, and so I spent the money, and I willingly knew what I was doing. You know what I mean? I was like, I'll buy a season pass. It gives me 8 fucking extra characters and stuff like that. And I think games as a service, depending on the initial price point and what you're getting, it's okay. Like Destiny is the thing that kind of bends me on that, where I think sometimes. Like the original Destiny, I think was a fucking ripoff. The base game, the base game was less than 20 hours.
Really?
And then the end game was broken as fuck as soon as that game came out. And by the time they fixed it, it was Taken King. But what I did was I traded the game back in. I waited until the Taken King edition came out. I spent another $60 on it. So roughly I spent about $75-$80 on the game total, but I had the base game now and all of this DLC, and with all of the DLC, the game was great. But if I just would have waited, because I didn't gain anything by playing it the first time, if I just would have waited for like the Game of the Year edition where it had everything, I would have picked it up and it would have been fine. But then, of course, I bought the Taken King, and then 5 months later, Rise of Iron came out, and I spent $20 on the fucking DLC for that, and I played it. It was about 15 hours of content. I felt fine. Because if you think about it, it's like, oh, would I have spent that $20 on a 15-hour indie game? Sure. You know what I mean? So, like, when it's justified, I think it's fine. But I completely agree with you that, like, there are tons of companies out there that just absolutely nickel and dime their audience, and it's not fucking worth it.
Or ship a broken game.
Yeah, or ship broken games.
There's some gray area in there, because I agree with the Rainbow Six Siege thing. Like, that's not an all-inclusive package. They do download characters, and I like that. They don't charge you, though. You know what I mean? Like,
they don't force you to pay.
It's still something you can earn through the game. Maybe that's what it comes down to. Like, all this extra like DLC and add-ons and costumes, as long as they made it fully access somehow through the game, even if you have to put in more hours than somebody that buys it or something like it should still be a complete game without having to pump more money.
It takes out like the exclusivity of just the DLC.
I think that's what it is.
So,
like the exclusivity.
So are we talking like you buy a game for $60 and you love it, and then they come out with an expansion. It's $20.
That should be attached to the.
You're
regular
saying
game.
that shouldn't be there at all. So you don't want to get to an $80 price point with two.
So what he's saying is, if the $60 base game came out and the DLC came out, and every time you beat the base game, you got a token. If you turned in 5 tokens, you unlock the DLC for free. He'd be fine with it.
Okay.
Instead of, just to be able to access this extra content, you have to put out an extra $20 or you'll never see this.
Right.
Period.
What I'm
if you
thinking,
can earn it in game, what
Yeah,
you're saying.
yeah,
If
I
you can
think-
earn it
yeah.
in game, an expansion's fine for you.
Yeah, like even if it's like, we've been ranting on it for a while, but I'm just trying to summarize it, I guess, real quick so we can move on.
Okay.
But I think anything attached to any specific game should be unlocked through that initial purchase somehow. Now, however they want to do it, like if somebody pays for it to get it early, or that same player can just earn it through achieving something in the game, that's fine, I guess. Again, it gets in the gray area, but as long as you don't get cut out of something specific with that initial purchase. I don't know. I just like to see complete packages, and I hate how everything's fragmented.
Yeah.
Essentially.
So it's weird. Like, also in theory, there is a way to do that. You just need to wait for the complete edition of games, as opposed to
Game of the Year.
like the Game of the Year
Yeah.
stuff. So like the Fire Fades edition if you would have bought in just regular Dark
Yeah.
Souls 3, you probably wouldn't have bought those 2 DLCs. But those 2 DLCs, if you really think about it, for how much fun we had playing it, I think they're both worth, I think they were only $10 a piece.
Oh.
And there's 8 to 10 hours of content in each one of those. And they were all done after the success of Dark Souls. It wasn't planned when they made it. And, like, certain things like that, because those DLCs came out long after. They didn't sell a season pass. That, I think, is the most egregious, is when they sell a season pass because they're like, hey, pre-buy all of our DLC.
That's true.
And we'll give you this game. So, like, there's people in Fallout 76 right now who bought this, like, really expensive edition of the game, and they're waiting for the extra content, and that game is shit.
Dead.
Broken as fuck, and it's dead.
Dead.
All right, Ralph, Steve, you kind of joined in on Harry.
Yeah, because I pretty much was along the same.
I got to say, I think we've reached our MUBRS threshold here, and all I really want to say is microtransactions. Just fuck them. They're done.
Yeah, I hate
microtransactions. You got enough
too.
money. I don't think anybody likes microtransactions unless you're like a 10-year-old kid and you've got mommy and daddy's credit card and you're just hitting that shit for
Like Fortnite.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Fuck Fortnite.
That's it. Once you become a conscious human being, you would realize that microtransactions are bullshit.
Yep.
It is bullshit.
I just want to say that. Going back to the DLC thing real quick. I'm sorry. Just one thing. Like I'm thinking of Far Cry 3 and Blood Dragon. Like you wouldn't have shipped Far Cry 3 with Blood Dragon attached to it, and that's kind of sort of like a standalone DLC. Like it uses the engine and assets, and it changed things up. Like it's a case by case basis. Like I will gladly pay $20 for Blood Dragon. You know what I mean? I mean you could get that standalone too.
Yeah.
Come to think of it, you could
But
get that standalone.
Okay, Blood Dragon's like a special example though,
Sure.
because that's almost like a game of itself.
That's what I mean.
So you could have just
Standalone.
purchased.
Yeah,
that
it's
game.
standalone.
Yeah.
It's completely standalone. So if you didn't own Far Cry 3, you could still play Blood Dragon.
Yeah, that's not a perfect
Day
example.
one, which I thought was awesome.
So I think you're right. It is a case by case scenario. Some cross the line more than others.
Yeah.
As you said, it's a gray area.
Yeah.
There's definitely gray area with DLC, but there's also a very much like there's a wrong way to do DLC, and a lot of fucking companies.
Yeah,
do it.
that's the thing. There's not a lot of examples of Far Cry 3 and Blood Dragon where you could take the DLC and that could just be its own. Like that is a very small percentile compared to how pretty much everything else is done.
All right, guys. Tune in next week for the review, and we will catch you later.
Yeah.
Bye.
Ralph has to pee.
Oh, it's got a
Yeah.
pee-pee.
Stay sexy.
Love you.
Thank you. Stay sexy.